for ages, right? The big idea was that success at work came down to one thing: IQ. How smart are you? But what if I told you that's just a tiny piece of the puzzle? It turns out there's this whole other set of intelligences that are actually way more important. So today, we're going to unpack exactly what they are and how they all click together. Yeah, so what is the true engine of success? If it's not just about being a genius, then what's left? Well, the real story, the interesting story, is that it's not about one thing. It's about three different kinds of smarts that all have to work in harmony.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with the optimism advantage. Then, we'll jump into what happened when we started looking beyond IQ to something called emotional intelligence. After that, we're going deep into the meaning quotient, or SQ. And finally, we'll pull it all together and see how you can unlock all three.
Okay, Section 1, the optimism advantage. And look, this is way more than just, thinking happy thoughts. This is about the deep down story you tell yourself when life throws you a curveball. It's about how your mindset can literally redefine what success looks like for you.
So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. At the core of all this is what psychologists call your explanatory style. Basically, when something bad happens, what's your go-to story? Is it, "It's all my fault, this is going to last forever, and it's going to ruin everything"? That's the pessimist take. Or is it more like, "Okay, this is a temporary hiccup, it's not all on me, and it's just this one thing"? That's the optimist. It's not the event you see, it's the explanation. That's the key discovery from psychologist Martin Seligman.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? For optimists, setbacks aren't a big red game over sign. Nope, they're just data points. They're lessons. It's like, okay, that didn't work. What did I learn? What can I do better next time? That simple little switch in perspective is an absolute game changer. It's what builds that grit, that resilience, and really fuels your growth.
And this isn't just some theory, right? We see this stuff in action all the time. Take Arthur Blank. He gets fired. For a lot of people, that's devastating. But for him, he saw an opening. He went on to co-found Home Depot. Or look at Anne Bousquet at American Express. She gets demoted. Ouch. But instead of letting it crush her, she used it as a moment to totally reevaluate her leadership style. And guess what? She ended up turning her division into a huge success. You see the pattern? Same setback, totally different story, totally different outcome.
Okay, so anecdotes are great, but what about hard data? Does this optimism thing actually hold up when you put it under the microscope? Well, Seligman decided to find out. He went into one of the toughest, most rejection-filled jobs you can imagine, insurance sales. He teamed up with MetLife to run a massive study to see if an optimistic mindset could actually predict who would sink and who would swim.
And the results they were staggering. 37%. Let that sink in. The optimistic agents sold 37% more insurance than the pessimistic ones in their first 2 years. That is a huge performance gap, and it was all tied back to their mindset. Nothing else.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Seligman convinced MetLife to try something really radical. He had them hire a special force, a group of people who actually failed the company's normal screening test, but who scored off the charts high on optimism. In year 1, this special force outsold the regular pessimists by 21%. Pretty good, right? But look at year 2. That gap exploded to 57%. It proves that in a job where you face constant rejection, optimism isn't just a nice-to-have. It's like a superpower that gets stronger over time.
All right, so having a resilient, optimistic mindset is clearly the bedrock. But that's not the end of the story. As we moved into the 90s, our whole idea of what makes someone successful at work evolved again. We started to realize that your ability to handle feelings, both yours and the people around you, was just as crucial as your ability to handle facts and figures. And that, my friends, is where emotional intelligence, or EQ, enters the picture.
Now, this is the official kind of academic definition, but let's break it down. The key thing to get here is that EQ is not just about being nice or having people skills. It's a real measurable intelligence. It's about being able to perceive emotions, figure out what they're telling you, and then use that information to guide your thinking and actions. It's about smart emotions. And the person who really brought EQ to the mainstream was Daniel Goleman. He broke it down into these 5 key areas, which makes it super easy to understand. It all starts inward, with yourself. First, you need self-awareness. Do you even know what you're feeling? Then comes self-regulation. Can you control your impulses? After that, you've got internal motivation, that fire in your belly that doesn't come from a paycheck. And only then does it turn outward to empathy. Can you feel what others are feeling? And social skill, which is all about managing relationships. I mean, just look at that list. Can you imagine being a successful leader or teammate without these? No way.
Okay, so we've covered mindset, we've covered emotions. But there's one more layer to this onion, and it's the deepest one of all. It's the intelligence that doesn't just ask what or how, but asks the biggest question there is. Why? Why are we even doing this? What is the purpose? This is what we call the meaning quotient, or SQ.
Think about it like this. For a huge chunk of history, our main focus was on IQ, just raw processing power, the ability to think logically. Then we evolved. We realized, hey, thinking isn't everything. We started to value EQ, the ability to understand and connect with feelings.
But now, we're at the next stage. We realize that to be truly effective, to be truly fulfilled, we need SQ, the intelligence that connects our work to a sense of meaning and purpose.
Now, let's be super clear about something right up front. When we talk about spiritual quotient, or SQ, we are not talking about religion. Religion is generally about institutions, rituals, and shared beliefs. Spirituality, which is what SQ is all about, is much more personal. It's your individual, private search for meaning, for purpose, for a connection to something larger than yourself.
So you're probably thinking, okay, great, but how do I actually do that? How do I improve my SQ? Well, it's not something you can just learn from a book overnight. It's a journey, and these 7 steps give you a pretty good roadmap. It starts with just being honest about where you are right now. Then you have to really feel that desire for change, dig deep to find out what truly motivates you, and then start clearing out the junk that's blocking your way. After you've explored your options, you commit to a path, but always with the humility to know that there are many, many right paths out there.
All right, we've gone through mindset, which is powered by optimism, we've explored emotion with EQ, and we've dived into purpose with SQ. So for our final section, let's bring it all home. Let's see how these 3 incredible forces integrate to give us a truly holistic picture of what it means to be successful.
This chart is the perfect summary. Look at IQ. That's your classic rational brain. It works in a straight line, dealing with facts and rules. Then you have EQ, which is more about connecting the dots, reading a situation, and understanding feelings and behavior. But SQ is different. It's what allows you to zoom out, question the whole situation, and connect everything to meaning and purpose. The key takeaway here is that they're not fighting each other. They're a team. You need all 3.
So if you want a really simple way to remember all this, think of it like this. IQ is what helps you solve the problem in front of you. EQ is what helps you solve that problem with other people. But SQ is what asks, hey, is this even the right problem to be solving? And are we solving it for the right reasons? It's the ultimate intelligence because it gives you the perspective to question the game itself. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder. As you think about your own journey, which one of these cues needs your attention the most right now?